Welcome to another video on using Excel to do different business calculations for your small business or personal accounts, what have you. This one's going to be on creating a simple amortization table for a loan. So up here in the cell B2, we're going to start with our sales price of our equipment, and we're going to say it's $50,000. And we're going to do a down payment, and let's set a cell over here of 10%. We're going to have a 10% down payment, so it's going to be equals C2 times D3. So we can drive this to change that down payment to whatever we can afford or whatever the bank requires. And then this is going to be the financed amount. Equals C2 minus C3, so it gives us the finest amount. Let's just stretch these out, and we're going to do our terms right here. So our APR is going to be, let's just say it's 7.00%, and our term in years, let's say it's 5 years, and our payment is going to be equals PMT is going to be our rate, which is divided by 12, and number of payments is going to be term in years times 12, and the present value is going to be the financed amount. That's what all these are. Yeah, rate, number of payments, present value. These ones, anytime you have a formula that's with the square brackets, those are optional. You don't really need those. Okay, so our payment here is going to be $940.56. Let's see if we stretch that to 6 years. Let's change this to 7.5. So now I have a payment of $821, and let's change this to 10%. So we have a $778.06 a month is going to be our payment. Now some other interesting formulas inside of Excel is going to be your principal payment. So we can say that our principal payment on a fixed interest rate is going to be equals negative PPMT, and the rate is going to be this divided by 12, and the period. So you're just going to put 1 because, well, you have to, in this particular instance, there's going to be 72 periods because it's 6 years times 12 months, and then the number of payments is going to be 6 times 12. So you get your total number of payments, and then our present value is going to be the financed amount, and you're going to get your principal, and then your interest is going to be your rate again. Sorry, it's going to be your interest payment. It's going to be equals IPMT, and we're going to do rate divided by 12, period, just put 1, number of payments times 12, present value is the financed amount. And let's change this to negative. And then just to kind of check, you should see this plus this, just so you can see that the total of the sum of the principal payment and interest payment sum $778.06, which is what your actual payment calculation up here is, just to make sure you can see what your interest payment is, and you can go for higher down payment to try and lower that interest payment so you can get your APR down, or just know that that's what you're going to pay. Now over here we're going to set up an simple amortization table. Okay, so we're going to form our period right here. And what we're going to do is you're going to start with the number 1. And this is a cool trick for fast fill. So you're going to do, so you got to do something where you got to fill in a lot of numbers. So we're going to start with number 1. You're going to go over here to the fill option, and we're going to go to series. And it's going to be, because we want it to go down in the column G, we're going to set series in to columns. We're going to keep type to linear. Our stop value, because we're doing 6 years, it's going to be 72. So our stop value is going to be 72. And then it's automatically populated. And that's a lot faster than trying to do it some other ways. There's some other ways you could do it. Like you could do 1 here, and then equals this plus 1, and then you can fill this down. You just gotta say you go too far, and then you gotta go back and delete it, all that. It's not very efficient. So anyway, just clear that out. And then we're gonna do our principal payment. This is gonna be our interest payment, total payment, remaining balance. And let's just stretch these out. And let's stretch this one out too. Okay, so the principal payment is going to be, the same principal payment formula used over here. It's going to be negative PPMT, because if you don't do the negative sign, you don't flip it, it'll look like it'll be a negative, and then when you go to calculate stuff, it won't add correctly. We're going to do our the rate. We're going to keep this fixed, divided by 12, and then the period is going to be the period that these periods are created over here in column G, and that's not going to be fixed because we need it to move. And then we're going to do our number of payments is going to be the term in years fixed times 12, and then the present value is going to be the financed amount, and that's going to be fixed. All right, real quick, let's just create a fence here and then fill that down. All right, now your interest payment is going to be similar, except we're going to use the interest payment formula. So same sort of thing. Rate is going to be the interest rate divided by 12. Oh, sorry, we need to make that a hard reference, a fixed reference. And then the next is going to be period. So you're going to column G over here, and then number of payments is going to be term in years fixed times 12. And then the present value is going to be the financed amount fixed. Close that, and then we should be able to just run that down like that. And the way it's calculating that is it's using the period to tell you where you're at in that loan schedule, how much you're going to pay in principal and how much you're going to pay in interest. And so our total payment should always be $778.06. And if we just fill that down, we should get that amount. And the remaining balance is going to be, we're going to start with the financed amount in C4 minus the principal payment in H4. And then the next row down, you're going to do the rest remaining K4 minus H5. And then you should just be able to fill that down until you get to the 0 there. Whoop. All right. And that's it. That's how you create a pretty basic amortization schedule. And this should be live as well. So if we go over here and we change this to 35,000, now it's going to mess up the periods because this doesn't automatically adjust. And there's a formula you could do for that to make it automatically adjust. If you change the term to 5 years, you'll see that we have a number issue, but it's not important. Now there's formulas you could do that clear this out and automatically adjust all this, but for most things you don't really need that. You just kind of want to visualize how much you're going to pay in interest, how much your principal payment is going to be, and then you can kind of throw in here if we make an additional payment, how early do we pay that off. That should work if we just set this back to 6 and then go over here, and let's say that once a year we're going to make an extra payment of $100. You'll be able to throw that in there, and it's going to recalculate that. We should see, yep, a negative $100. So you can see we're going to pay that off early. And you just kind of manually play with that a little bit if you want to see what the early payoff would be. There's other ways you could do that as well, but just something really simple to get you going. Another thing you can do to see your interest paid is go down here, clear this out, and you can see if we just sum these, you can see that our principal payment equals our financed amount, our interest payments. This is how much we're going to pay in interest on this loan, and this is going to be the total amount that we pay on the loan. So to borrow $45,000 over 6 years, is going to cost us a total of $56,019.96. Okay, that's it. If you have any other questions, leave them in the comments. Thanks for watching.